My name is Benedicta Eze, and I'm your moderator for today. I head the Human Resource Department at Olajude Oyewole LLP, a member firm for Daily Piper Africa, and I'm excited to be hosting this session today, brought to you by the Association of Law Firm Administrators Nigeria, ALAN. Our topic today is mental health and well-being. At this point, I am pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Olajumoke Koyejo. She is a medical doctor with over 18 years experience and has been a mental and emotional health consultant for 9 years and counting. She's also an addiction medicine specialist in substance abuse prevention, treatment, education, policy, certified by the Virginia Commonwealth University in America. She has further certification in tobacco prevention, treatment, protection, evaluation, addiction, and mental health at the University of Toronto, Canada. She's a fellow of the Japanese Society of Psychiatry and Neurology. She has presented a number of webinars, and today she'll be shedding more light into mental health post-COVID-19, the issues surrounding it, what it really means, and what we can do about it. She will also be talking on general well-being in light of the recent pandemic and how we as individuals can adapt and adjust where necessary, all of which are the aim of this webinar. Before I hand the platform over to Dr. Olajumoke, we have a few housekeeping items about this presentation. First, I would like to request that you please put your speakers on mute. Next, today's webinar will be made available after the live session and will be accessible through Alan's social media platforms. Last, we would love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have any questions for our speaker, please feel free to write them in the chat below, or you can send them to me privately. I know this is a very sensitive topic, and from experience, some people would not want to come forward directly. We'll be answering questions at the end of this session. So without any further ado, I'd like to kick things off by welcoming our speaker once again, Dr. Olajumoke Koyejo. Mental health is an important subject at the moment. This is important because it affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Could you take us through the entirety of mental health post-COVID?
Yeah, thank you very much, Benedicta. Good morning, everybody. My name is Olajumoke Koyejo. I'm a addiction psychiatrist, and I work in Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, and I'm a volunteer with Live Well Initiative. So let me share my slides and let's start. So while I'm sharing my slide, I would just like to talk about myself. Well, I guess I don't know why lawyers keep chasing me around. My father was a lawyer. I have two brothers that are lawyers. My husband is a lawyer. So I guess there's this philia, there's this love lawyers have for me. Maybe I'll be able to explain it today. Yeah, let's go to our mental health and well-being, thriving the new normal. It's been psychiatrists, mental health physicians all over the world were expecting so much. This is something we've never experienced before. And all the things I'll be talking about today will be based on studies all over the world, recent studies, and of course, past history of epidemics, what has happened all over the world, and my own personal experience as a consultant psychiatrist in a Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, and in my private practice and my volunteer services. So let's go ahead. So what is health? Health, what is health? This health we're talking about. WHO calls health to us as a state of, sorry, let me try and, okay. As a state, as not just the absence of mental illnesses, not the absence of depression or mania or schizophrenia like we see in our hospital in Yaba, but it's a state of well-being. Sorry, what is health? It's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And I want us to think about it: physical, when our body is well; mental, when our mental psyche is well; and our social well-being. My data would define social to you. Well, she once defined culture to me as a way of life of a group of people. So I'll tell you today, our social well-being, our way of life, our relationship with others is important for us to be healthy. Sorry, this thing is blocking my, I'm trying to move, okay. So what is mental health? I'm a psychiatrist, like I told you. I love psychiatry. I'm associated with psychiatrists. So what is mental health? It's not just the absence of mental illness, but it's the presence of optimal mental well-being. And the WHO defines mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential. I mean, your own potential, can cope with normal stress of life. So we all recognize that there are normal stress of life that would come. And people that can work are able to work productively and fruitfully and is able to contribute his or her own quota to his community. And if you can do this, I'll tell you, you're mentally healthy. So now, we've spoken the big English. We've defined what mental health is. So what are the factors that would influence our mental health? I know lawyers talk about cases, case of Okuta and something, you know. So now, for me as a physician, I will tell you about factors that will influence our own mental health. And I will tell you that the first thing I'll talk about is your genetic makeup, the way you were born. You can't change it. I'm dark complexioned, I'm dark complexioned. I stammer. That's a genetic makeup. There are so many things that are innate to us. And the second thing that influences our mental health is our social relationship. And that is our way of life, the way we relate with others, with families, friends, colleagues at work, the way you relate on Third Mainland Bridge with your fellow drivers. That's your social relationship. Then your psychological makeup, your interpretation of events, your outlook of life. So what factors influence our mental health? The relationship life. These are the factors that would influence our mental well-being. So now we're talking about, I'll give you a background of what mental health is and what health is. Let's do a brief introduction of coronavirus in Nigeria. Of course, we all know this. The index case was confirmed on the 7th of February in 2020. And as of yesterday only 575 new cases were confirmed. So now we have a total of 31,232 cases in Nigeria. And I'm telling you, to date, people still feel coronavirus is scam in Nigeria. That these numbers, is it real, or is someone somewhere just conjuring numbers and pushing them out every day? Well, if you go to the Ijeoma family and Habakari family, they will tell you whether it's real or not. But I can tell you sincerely, coronavirus is real. So let's talk about the uncertainties about this COVID-19. Worldwide, there's that of information. I mean, genuine information. There's the exact origin. These are uncertainties. The mode of transmission. WHO World Health Organization keeps going back and forth. It is airborne. It is not airborne. It is not airborne. Uncertainty about the character and unpredictability of the disease itself. The best method of prevention. The treatment of the virus. There are so many questions, and answers to these we've not gotten. And now, let's talk about, because of these uncertainties worldwide, there are so many psychological, that means interpretation of coronavirus, and social effects of the COVID-19 itself. So we're going to talk about the psychosocial effect of COVID-19. Worldwide, there are myriad of psychological problems in adjusting to the current lifestyles. Now, all of us, we are all doctors now. We wear face masks everywhere. So it's not just doctors that wear in the theater that wear face masks now. In fact, some people wear N95 now. That's even more expensive, and more protective than what we wear during surgical operations. Sound. These psychological issues that related with COVID are born out of fear of the disease, coronaphobia, health challenges, people with underlying medical illnesses and those infected, psychological effect of the forced quarantine, and the economic effects of this virus, economic and financial losses that are associated with this virus are causing so much psychosocial effects. Like I'm telling you today that these psychosocial effects are fueled by epidemic of contrasting information, infodemic. Infodemic is a deluge of information all over that's coming from social media, from WHO, and even from get gist day, you know, that kind of thing. There's a deluge of information worldwide that has become an epidemic. So now these are the things that are fueling this psychosocial effect of COVID-19. And studies have shown, recent studies, the 2020 study have shown that 1 in 3 persons will have mild to severe psychosocial impact of this COVID-19. And this fear is related to fear of contacting the virus, falling sick, helplessness, hopelessness, stigma, and even death from this virus. And what are the factors that predict people that will have psychosocial effects, impact of COVID-19? I'm going through all this to let us know that these are the problems, and of course, I will tell us how we could explain, how to normalize in this new normal we're experiencing now. Young people like you and I, middle-aged people, not the extremes of age, would have, people like me and you and I that have planned so much for 2020, would have so much psychosocial effect, impact of this COVID-19. Being female, so Benedicta and I and other females around the world are expected to have more impact compared to an average guy on the streets. And people that have presence of underlying illnesses, physical content tell you that, of course, because you keep saying that you keep hearing the governor of the commissioner of health in Lagos is talking about people that have comorbidities should be more careful than others, because the prognosis, the outcome of the illness in them is worse than in others. Then persons with higher educational status, like you and I, because we understand so much, we keep reading so much. I'm sure lawyers too, they can read and read and read. Now, because of so much information of the infodemic that's out there, they are prone to having more psychosocial impact of this COVID-19. And being a student is actually a risk factor to having more psychosocial effects. So what are these? What are the psychosocial effects? Anxiety. Generalized fear of everything, fear of going out, fear of going to the market, fear of talking in public, fear because you keep seeing with their naked eye, seeing the COVID-19 virus everywhere. And their phobia, which is fear of restricted to some things. Some people even go to have panic spells as if they are fainting spells. Some would have stigma, so much stigma attached to people that have coronavirus now. If you have, even if your relative has, would people running away from you, then there's shame as if they caused it. Some people have outright depression. 25% of people are expected to have outright depression of people that would have mild to moderate depression. Some people are just irritable. Even the lockdown could make people have irritable delusions of having symptoms similar to COVID-19. I'm sure if someone should cough, even right in this webinar, you see people adjusting themselves. Right, even, and if you cough for a day or two now, you'll be shocked that people might say, maybe I should go for a test. Paranoid ideas, and increased domestic violence. We've heard it everywhere and all over the world. There's increased domestic violence. There's an upsurge in domestic violence. These are part of psychosocial effects of COVID-19. There will be undue fear among the elderly due to their particular vulnerability to this and their worst prognosis. Feeling of helplessness. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to do. Then panic buying. So if you go to some people's houses now, you would meet there, you can tell they are 2060. They will still have things to eat in their homes. Then there'll be exacerbation of mental health problems. Of course, my patients now, some would miss their clinic because they're afraid to take the public transport. Because people that have obsessive compulsive disorder. They have some obsessions. Some of my patients have obsessions of hand washing. This COVID-19 that's prescribing that we should keep washing our hands will exacerbate their mental illness. So you can't. So these are things that would happen. Then therapeutic misadventure. Actually, I made it bold for people to know. People would try all sorts of things, claiming to be preventing COVID-19. Of course, this comes from misleading from all the things we hear from the social media and from even gist today. Let's gist the less gist thing. People, there'll be therapeutic misadventure because people will try all sorts of things to try to prevent COVID-19. And there'll be health crimes, the violation of basic pandemic rules. And I'm sure you can see in Nigeria, people don't obey those all the rules that government has laid down, because there'll be deviant behavior and social disobedience. Then there's this one, xenophobia. Maybe let's should. I'm a psychiatrist, and I keep talking to my patients. So let me talk to lawyers now. I hope they would listen. Xenophobia, about sometimes I think in May or maybe it was in March, someone that looked like a Japanese, of course, someone that maybe, I don't even, maybe from South Korea or those places, Taiwan, someone that looks like a Japanese came to my boss office, and I saw him shaking the guy, and I ran away. So now, okay, that's our conversation, let's continue. I said, no, I'm not coming to your office. You just shook a Chinese now. And I didn't go there I told him, I'm not going to come to your office for 2 weeks. And the secretaries came. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to come to your office. That he shook a Chinese. Of course, I don't even know whether this guy is from Taiwan, all those places. But the point is, there's someone that looked like a Chinese, and my boss said he shook the guy. So there's going to be conspiracy theory and derogatory headlines about food habits, prejudiced comments regarding Chinese sociocultural norms. And there could be discrimination, isolation of entire nation or even a race just because of COVID-19. Then people that are bereaved will have so much impact because inability to gain closure. Nigerians, we love parties, we love to celebrate the dead and the rest like that. But now people can't do that. So some people will still have inability to gain closure because of the type of burial they are giving their loved ones. Then distrust towards others in terms of disease spread and government because of their assumed secrecy. These are the psychosocial effects of COVID-19. So let's go to socioeconomic impacts. Benedicta, are you still doing the polls?
Yes, you can continue. The polls will come in, will interject as you're talking. So
okay,
our IT team will take care of it from there.
Okay, so the socioeconomic. Okay, so the social. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the socioeconomic effect of COVID-19. Financial restraints during lockdown. Last Sunday precisely, my friend called me to come and review a patient in his private clinic. And the guy sliced his wrist. He wants to really, really die. Suicide, because he lost his job. And what happened? There's less production in the manufacturing company and they laid off staff. So there will be, and now things are more expensive worldwide because there will be increased cost of livelihood. COVID-19 enduring socio-economic problems, which will be potentially more detrimental in the long run than the virus itself. Because people are losing jobs. I've heard about companies shutting down in the UK and in the US. Collapse of many industries and gross unemployment said to die last week. And there are many more like that we see in our practice. That's because there are many people that have lost their jobs just because of the socioeconomic effect, because I'm a psychiatrist, not a financial advisor. I should stop? Hello?
No, please, you can carry on. I've
Okay.
muted the person.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Then effect on children. Some people feel children don't have emotions. You've disrupted their school, you've disrupted their usual way of life. They can't even play outside. It's a lot of distress for children mentally. So we are really expecting, psychiatrists are the mental people in the mental health profession, we are expecting so much from the underage from the children to elderly because of the effects of COVID-19, effects during and after. So now we've talked about things that biopsychosocial effects of COVID-19. So how do we prevent? Even WHO has encouraged individuals and organizations to put necessary preventive mechanisms in place to mitigate the negative psychosocial effect of COVID-19. Because, like I said, there will be socioeconomic problems, there will be so much problems, and much more than COVID-19 that would happen. And the government of Lagos State have gone ahead to have their helplines, and there are some organizations that have helplines for their staff. So there's someone you can call if you feel so distressed, if you have so much psychological trauma or effect of related directly or indirectly to COVID-19. And this is the first step to take because this type of webinar, there should be many more because people really need help during this time. So improving our mental health socially, how do we go about it? Caring for others, being altruistic. Caring for others is what brings relationship closer, supportive relationships, and involvement in group activities. There should be increased sense of belonging, which would help in increased sense of belonging, increased self-esteem, increased determination, and self-control. We need each other much more at this time to improve our self-management. You know, there's this, well, I don't know, I just have this funny belief about lawyers that they have a lot of, there's so much that self-esteem is very high. And why? Because they believe they are learned. Well, because of my husband and my father and my brothers, I feel they are learned. So we expect some degree of above average self-esteem from lawyers, and because they know they are right. But leave that as me, there's need for us to care for each other at this time. Get help, advice. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. In fact, to me, it's a sign of strength. That look, I need help in this area of my life. And taking time for yourself is necessary in this COVID period. Having a little selfish time. Let me say it, have a little selfish time to take care of ourselves, if only to rest, to think about the day, to think about the week. It is really necessary for us to have a little selfish time. We deserve it. You worked hard, so you deserve it. Do things that you're good at. Doing positive things that make you feel happy and you enjoy doing. Make time for your activity, even if only to boost your self-esteem and your self-acceptance. Accept yourself for who you are. Talk about your feelings to others, to people that could help you. Keep active, exercise. You've been locked down. Sometimes you sit in front of your laptop for hours. You need good exercise to help you at this point in time. It helps the brain and the body. So it's not just it's just about muscle building. It's about toning yourself. It's about feeling relaxed. Being intentional about your health at this time is very important. You eat well, eat fruits, it's really helpful. And like I said, I'm an addiction psychiatrist. Avoid alcohol and other drugs of abuse. Well, because people are at home now, you can drink as many bottles as you want. You can smoke as many wraps or as many joints as you want. It won't help. It's a wrong coping strategy, which won't bring out the best out of you. And mentally healthy workplace. Consciously preventing and promoting positive mental health can increase productivity, improve company culture, and reduce absenteeism in our workplace. So it's important for us to achieve this. And this cannot be achieved unless leaders, head of units, they practice good mental hygiene. So what should we do? There are rules about taking breaks throughout the day and respecting regular work hours wherever possible. I know Nigerians, we feel we are very powerful. We feel we can work 28 hours a day. I'm sure most of us feel like that. And we feel, that we don't even need that break. There's only those people that go on break. It won't help us at this point in time. Some rules around technology, and I call some people at 2 a.m. and they'll pick their calls. And they will answer to office when they are not on call. Doctors, sometimes I could be on call, so I know that I am meant to be awake, I'm meant to be alert. I could be called at any point in time. But some people, there are no boundaries to some people's working hours. They work 24 hours. Genuine care and love for others would really help at this period. Would really help at this period. Socializing at work and supporting each other. If you know your colleague well, you will know when there's a behavioral change in that your colleague. So mentally healthy workplace. CEO must become mental health role models. If CEOs don't go on breaks, they don't go on leave throughout the year, it will be very difficult for your staff to want to go on those breaks. So you can't preach the opposite of what you do. Let me say it again. You can't preach the opposite of what you do. I want you to be mentally healthy in this office, but you're doing the opposite. As the boss, at the head of unit, you don't go on breaks. You work, it might not really help your staff. And destigmatizing the conversation around mental disorders would really help your staff. People that are struggling at one point in time, they'll be comfortable seeking help. When you don't make those derogatory comments about my own patients. There's this word I can't just pronounce, MAD, very derogatory. And it's so when you say such words and you say it around, it's you're hiding somebody that is sick will not even be able to ask for help around you because they know that you call them MAD. Noticing and appreciating positive work experience. There was a time and making effort to acknowledge people's special events. On my birthday, my MD called me around 8:30 p.m. When I saw her number, I was like, what is happening? I was afraid that how come she's calling me at this point, at this hour of the day? And when she called and said, happy birthday, Koyejo, I was like, wow. As bosses, as colleagues, we should acknowledge and appreciate our colleagues' special events. Taking positive approach to work. Being appropriately positive about other team members. Let me tell you something I learned from someone. When maybe you've done something, okay, let's assume you come late to work. And my boss would say, my boss would say, maybe I now didn't put a call across as something happened, I'm on my way, and so you're not okay, and you just come and you just say, okay, welcome. So why didn't you put that call across that you will be late? You think you are not important to us? You think we won't be worried about you? For making us panic, you get a query. And you now start begging her, no, so you think you're not important? No, I know I'm important. So she make you feel like, look, for not even putting a call across, for not appreciating yourself, you'll be queried for it. And she could actually give you that query, smiling and laughing. But the point is, even in the course of making you know that you came late to work and there was no particular reason for it, she doesn't give you a query, she'll still have a way of passing across that message in a good way. So positive approach to our staff and to all in our workplace is important. Well, I really don't mean to talk so much. This is just a background to things that could happen. But so in conclusion, the reality is that COVID-19 is really, I might be around for a whole long time. So we need positive coping skills to be above average. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olajumoke. I wanted to pause you a bit to run a couple of polls, but we'll just do that while I'm talking. Indeed, the fear and anxiety surrounding the pandemic is very real, and the psychological effects should not be ignored. It is evident again from this polls that we are going to be taking. And we have a couple of questions from individuals who sent in their questions ahead of this webinar. I will read them out one after the other and you can respond. The first question asks how we can promote social connectedness and an inclusive workplace environment in this period of health crisis brought upon by the COVID.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, the first question, yes. First question asks, how can we promote social connectedness and an inclusive environment, workplace environment in this period of health crisis brought upon by COVID-19?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you're talking about social connectedness. And funnily, the government is talking about physical distancing and social distancing. So there's something that there will always be a way to be connected to each other, checking on each other, even through phone calls. It's important that you would make that call to your colleague. And sometimes, well, there's this culture amongst us that we don't call our boss, how are you? So I just checking on you. I'm sure most of us don't do that. I can't remember the last time I really called my MD to ask her, how is she? But seriously, we all need to call on each other to be able to ask about how we're all faring, and we should be truthful about it. So it's not we'll say it's showmanship. It's trying to be a good girl. But seriously, when I see people say send me text messages, just checking on you, giving me a call, just checking on you, it's makes me feel good. So we need to do those calls. We need to do even video conferencing at times to be able to check on each other. It's very, very important. So in this era of physical and social distancing, there's something else we could do to be connected to each other. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, we have a couple more questions on the chat, okay. And I'll take one from the chat and then one from the questions that were sent before the webinar. One of the participants would like to know, how much break should we take per day during work? Some people say stand up and take a break after every hour.
Okay, how much break should we take? Well, there's always there's this program that I went to in the US, and they said 6.5 hours of work, then 1.5 hours of break. That makes 8 hours. That's like our normal 8 to 4. So that means you should have maybe 1 hour break time. Then maybe after every hour you could take a walk and come back and come back. But it's sometimes it really depends on you. How do you want to take that 1 hour break? I don't like sitting down for too long. So even doing word round, when I'm supposed to be sitting, it's just I'll just get up and I will stand, I will take a walk, even while in that office listening to my resident present to me. So it's not like it's cast in stone, but what I have seen, what I said try, so that means I might not be doing it, to practice is at least an hour break in 8 hours. 1.5 hours break is recommended. So there should be like a bathroom break. There should be a lunch break, for us. And you may not take the 1 hour at a go. You might actually take a stretch, go back to work. But it's very important we take that break, and it's very important we sleep. The first question I'll ask you, the beginning of development of a psychiatric illness is poor sleep. So that sleep is very important to us as individuals, as intellectuals in this COVID-19 period. Thank you.
The next question will be greatly appreciated by working parents, I believe. and your presentation hit a silent chord because mental health issues are also real for the kids. The question says, the children are now home. How can you keep sane while directing them so they don't feel mommy, daddy does not like their presence?
Well, thank you very much. You know, I didn't say so. I think I did a slide on children too that I talked about. We've disrupted their lifestyle have been disrupted by this COVID-19. But you know, this presentation is not meant for children. Okay, how even positive approach, positive attitude to our children is important. You know, when the at the beginning of the lockdown, I felt very like, you know, I didn't feel so great. Wasn't so I don't know how to explain. I felt like plastic. I wasn't so used to having them for so long hours in a day and not knowing when it would stop. But because I started appreciating even the noise, the shouts, we started, you know, getting involved in our children will help us understand from their own point of view. You know, now that they are home, we could engage them in so many things. There's this game that I played, maybe I played like 30 years ago, that you drop boxes on the floor and you throw something and you up around it to pick it. So I have to teach my children during this break how to do that because I didn't know what else to do to keep them busy, to keep them safe. So I had to be involved in so many things they do. So it's for me to keep our children around is being interested in what they enjoy, and it will really help us appreciate them. Someone said, enjoy your children. Enjoy your children. That means that a time we can have stories to tell them when they grow up. So I'll tell the working class mom, well, at this point in time, enjoy them because if you know that a time would come that you might not have them so much around. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olajumoke. Moving on to the next question from the chat, it says, how do you tell when you are mentally tired? Are there signs to watch out for as per mental wellness? Are there signs of depression? Are there signs to watch out for? I think this is a repeat. So how do you know, how do you tell when you are mentally tired? Are there signs to watch out for as per mental wellness?
Yeah, thank you very much. The
You're
first thing you should watch out, the first thing you should watch out for when you're becoming irritable. Everything and you becoming irritable at this point in time, when you're having poor sleep. I keep telling her sleep is very important to me as a psychiatrist. When you're becoming irritable too, something that you should watch out for. When everybody irritates you around you, then you are under so much pressure. You might need some selfish time to yourself. So those are the two things you should watch out for at this point in time. When you're becoming irritable. Of course, sometimes sad mood could come in, you know, but being irritable, not sleeping well, there are two important things we should watch out for to know that if there's something going wrong somewhere. Thank you very much.
Okay. The next question, I believe, will be very valued by practice managers, administrators, human resource professionals alike in this webinar. It says almost everyone is working without going on their planned leave due to the disruption. Some firms have even cancelled annual leave as a result of the pandemic. How do we drive policies and discussions internally that allow staff to take the necessary time off work? And if in the case of a mental health issue, how do you fashion out policies to allow such staff take the time they need to get well?
Thank you very much. Talking about leave, even some companies have told their staff they are on leave now during the lockdown. They've had their leave, their vacation, and they won't have any other vacation anymore. And I know that organizations are there to make profits. So talking from as a staff, as an employee and as an employer, discussing with our staff is important. Discussing with our staff when you were on the first lockdown, maybe negotiating with them with something very valuable. I mean, they're adults, we are adults, we are all working together, discussing what we need to get the organization going. We need, we've had this break. We're not able to give you the exact length of break that is normally you require. You know, letting them understand the need for any decision you take is important. Coming to tell me that, look, you can't go and leave this year. Flats. That's like an order. We're coming to discuss, let's sit down, let's have a meeting, how we want to plan this. So it's a shared responsibility, it's a joint decision by all of us. Because people that have forced their staff to go and leave, you can't blame them. But at the same time, the staff needs use our own time, because sometimes people actually really worked hard during the lockdown. So I think for us as administrators, as head of units, we should discuss with our staff what we desire of them, what they would, to tell them our own point of view, and let's shift positions and come to a joint conclusion, which we all own together. Thank you very much.
Indeed, a collaborative agreement would help a long way.
Yeah.
Another question from the chat says, what are the signs of depression?
Okay. Well, you're taking me back to core psychiatry. Thank you very much. The first, for any mental illness, I've told you, poor sleep and being irritable is the first sign. Sad mood, for depression especially, sad mood, loss of interest in day-to-day activities is a great sign that something is wrong somewhere. That feeling of guilt and low self-esteem, when you're beginning to feel guilty about everything happening around you, you're feeling sad, you have lost interest in day-to-day activities. These are the things that you should watch out for. So by the time a patient starts telling that is sad, is lost interest, is not sleeping, wow, I'm thinking of depression, I'm thinking of medication already. But once you start early enough, you could still have some form of talking therapy that could help. So in depression, consistent sad mood, unexplainable sad mood is a major criteria in which you could use to diagnose depression in people. And I think I said that question, anxiety too, fear of anything, fear of everything, and crippling fears. But before it gets to crippling fear, when you start being anxious of things, COVID is not just about you, it's the whole world. So you think your anxiety is much more than every other person. You actually need to talk up to a psychiatrist. And I don't see psychiatry as somebody, I'm sure I don't look like a demigod or something. Just talking to somebody, a psychiatrist or a mental health professional, could really help when you have undue anxiety about things happening around you. Be anxious. It's something we should watch out for. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think you had answered one of the questions I wanted to ask next. How do you handle panic attacks and anxiety? But you had mentioned speak to a medical and health professional.
A mental health professional.
Mental health professional like yourself. Moving on to the next question. It says, and then this is something you had brushed upon before, with the prevailing situation, irritability level has increased in the office environment. With what little things does a head of department do to balance things from those above and those below?
So at work now, we are all irritable. And there's need for us to take a break. There's need for us to have a meeting. There's need for us to talk about it. There's need for us to ask people about their views. Offices are we are all adults in this office. And so if even talking about our fears, sharing our fears and talking about it would really help. Some people just have fear of nothing. fear of, some people are, I can tell you, Benedicta, some people are seeing the COVID virus without using an electron microscope. They can see it. The virus is there. So the anxiety is much. It's palpable everywhere. So people are irritable. Yeah. But the whole idea is for us to sit, even having meetings, having relaxation time could really help our productivity, could help, it should be a win-win for the staff, for the employee and the employer. If I'm mentally stable, I'll do the work better. If I'm relaxed, I'll do the work better. So discussing it would really help. Discussing what is the problem, why are you irritable. When you call your staff to your office and even hearing that staff out, what's the problem? Let me tell you the story. I'm a storyteller, I'm a psychiatrist, so pardon me. I had, residents rotate through our units. And there's this guy that was just very irritable doing his posting. And I keep seeing my residents, they would go somewhere and be talking. When I move closer, maybe I'm walking past, you just see them, you all keep quiet. Let her go, I just kept on looking at them. So one day they just came up and said, Dr. Koido, we want to talk. I said, okay, let's talk. What's the problem? And he told me that there's the guy I don't know, I wasn't just putting in his best, that he has a problem with his girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, so what do we do? And you're like, tomorrow is the girl's birthday. Like, so, I was just laughing. I'm like, so, and like, sir, man, we'll do his work. I said, okay, fine. He wants to do a surprise birthday cake and the rest. And I looked at myself, poor Dr. Koido. I need to give my residents 3 hours off work to go and drop a birthday cake for his girlfriend. And I said, okay, go ahead. But you will still come to us. I said, yes, that's. And I heard them shouting and yelling and happy and, and afterwards they felt so relaxed to see them walking, and because they felt that, of course, sometimes you might have to take some decisions that's out of the box. But believe me, it can help productivity. It can help our staff regain their self-confidence. Let me tell you another story. Am I allowed to tell stories, Benedicta? Just one story.
Yeah, very short stories.
Okay, there's this my patient. Okay. There's this patient of mine that we're treating for manic behavioral disorder. She was manic. And at a point, she was doing well initially, and at a point in time, she said, Dr. Koido, I'm going home this weekend. I'm like, you've not completed your treatment. And, I just finished a stage of my residency program then. And I'm like, she's missing her husband. And she was telling me, like, look, this is mental health. And, I was speaking all the English. And my senior consultant came and I actually reported, I told her the problem at hand on the ward. This girl was going to turn down the whole world. And she was like, oh, yeah, girl, allow her go. And we allowed this woman go for the weekend with her husband. And she came back on Monday and she was smiling and she cooperated. And she told me that, look, if you didn't allow her go, she would have forcefully go home and she won't be happy with you and continue her treatment. So sometimes we really have to bend the rules to allow some things. And of course, it would end up being a win-win for our staff and employee and employer. And of course, there are some employees that want so much. Maybe we might have to cut those ones, excesses. But in as much, we should be able to bend over and allow some things for our staff at this point in time. Thank you very much.
The next question from the chat says, are panic attacks and anxiety the same thing?
Panic attacks. In the anxiety spectrum, there's a place for panic attack. There's a place for generalized anxiety. So it's all under anxiety disorders. So, but panic attack is an extreme form of anxiety. When people have feeling of going to die, as if death has come. They have this strange and overwhelming belief and feeling of death, which can be so severe that they have these fainting spells. And that's what panic attack is. But it's an extreme, like a spectrum, an extreme form of anxiety. So we treat them like another form of anxiety disorder. Thank you very much.
So much. We have more questions, and this shows how important this topic is. It's very broad, and we'll try and answer everyone's question within the time frame. But just know this: if we're not able to answer your question, we'll put it up on the Alan website, and Dr. Olajumoke will still respond. But send in your questions still. This one says, if an individual is not accepting the help being offered to him or her, after spotting signs of mental health issues, what are the challenges that we may face with such individual, and how can we ensure that they get the necessary help even if they refuse it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, most of our patients don't agree to see a mental health expert because the mental health profession is so much stigmatized. And sometimes, well, I personally don't mind the stigma, but our patients don't like that stigma. People don't want to have that stigma too. Well, when the person is not dangerous to self and others, you might still push a bit, try to talk. Sometimes we need to bring in a mental health expert in disguise to talk to such person. I've had to go to places and talk, like just like if you say, like as a behavioral physician, and I'll talk to the person. And sometimes I need to use force. Several patients come to Yaba psychiatry believing that they are going to the police station, they just go and pretend and arrest, and you see them land right inside the hospital. Of course, once you enter the facility, you can't go because there are people we call crisis that hold you down. So if the person is not dangerous to self and others, you might still continue talking to the person. You might have to bring in a mental health professional to actually speak to the person from a mental health point of view and see if there will be some changes. But by the time the person becomes dangerous to self and others, holding knife at home, threatening to harm self or others, you might need to be forceful about it. And I've told you, just feel an arrest and bring the person to a mental health facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olajumoke. One of the questions from the chat says, what is the reason why people who commit suicide as a result of job loss or otherwise do not first seek help?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I told you, factors that determine our mental health is our biological makeup, our interpretation of life, and our relationships. That's what I call the biopsychosocial approach. Now, I saw a patient last week, Saturday, that because he lost his job, was going to kill himself. He had sliced his wrist. Why didn't they seek help? Because their interpretation of the job loss is, they've interpreted it to the extreme. They can't even see life again outside of that job. So that's the reason. And of course, because of their genetic makeup, some people are actually prone to having depression before now. They have a very bad relationship. They don't relate with others well. Now they've lost the only job that is their friend. And because of their own psychological makeup, their interpretation of events, it might be so overwhelming to them, and they might try to commit suicide. But believe you me, before somebody commits suicide, there would have been telltale signs that people around them did not notice. So like I said, if you know your friend well, you will know when there is a behavioral change. Most people that have committed suicide have said something to someone somewhere, they've written something, you see people pulling down their Instagram profile, you see people they would do something funny that if people around them, if you notice them enough, you know there's something wrong with them and you would help them on time. So it's something that could be prevented if we take interest in others around us, and if we as individuals interpret life in a better way. We see that the loss of job is not the end of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olajumoke. I know you had where's that question? I know you had brushed on this, and I know you said that mental health, one of the signs is the biological makeup. This question says, are there any personality types that are prone to mental health, that are more prone to mental health?
Well, the easy warriors. There's some people that they worry about everything. And those sort of people are more prone to mental disorders. But it's not just one thing. You can't just, if you worry, so there are other things that would happen around us. And as adults, people now learn self-management. People learn self-control, decision-making skills. People learn, it's important for us to consciously be intentional about our decisions, being intentional about how we interpret things. It's very important. People that worry so much are prone to having depression, yes. But you can't take that singular episode out of this whole world and say, okay, yes, this person will definitely not too good, but sometimes their relationship and people around them, the relationship they have with them could really help them. Nobody is actually immune to having mental illness, just like nobody's immune to having malaria if you expose yourself. Thank you very much.
This next question borders around mental health and substance abuse, which are linked from your presentation. It says, do firms need a substance use policy? Is it something we should consider drafting?
Okay. Drafting as an organization or something?
Yes, as a firm.
Okay. As a firm. Oh, yeah. The firms need. Okay. Yes, definitely. I'm an addiction psychiatrist, and this is what I preach every day. So thank you for taking me to my comfort zone. Alcohol and some other things are socially acceptable. And the fact that something is socially acceptable does not mean it is good for us. That's one thing I want us to know. There are so much complications with cigarette use, with alcohol use, with all these substances. So firms really need to have, you can't stop them because lawyers are violating their fundamental human rights. That's what lawyers say. Benedict, am I right? That you tell them, so you have to tell them, okay, this 8 to 4 at work, you can't have alcohol in the office. And even at work, you could even tell them things like, you don't take alcohol or substance or smoke first thing in the morning. These are things that firms could do to help their staff. Let me tell you something. When your staff, your employee, when they are healthy, their productivity would increase and the firm would be better off. So we really need to take the issue of their health into as something important because it would end up being win-win for all of us. Simple things could introduce things like, okay, of course you don't take substances during work. Tell them that, okay, it's happy half hour, like they do in some countries now. You don't if you have to drink, you don't drink and drive. Those basic things would really help our staff in the workplace and it would boost their productivity. And sometimes engaging them, because sometimes those people use substances of abuse to medicate some issues they are facing. So you could actually ask them, what's the problem? And it would help. Look, you don't have to do this. You don't have to drink it because this happened. Think about this way out. So head of units, bosses have so much to do to help our staff. So don't just see them as the machine. Even you service your machine. So you should try to put the issue of their health as something very important for your office to run. Thank you very much.
Okay, still on the substance use abuse, which is your comfort zone. This next question says, how do you manage functioning drug addicts in the workplace?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, you call them functioning drug addicts. I call them time bomb. Still functioning, yes. And it's delivering on my job, so I don't care. Well, the day the guy gets drunk, the day the guy gets psychotic from Indian hemp use, you might be the next victim. A would attack. A functioning drug addict in your office. But when you go to meetings, he makes everybody uncomfortable. He does not allow the meeting to hold by his or her action. Same functioning drug addict. It's a time bomb waiting to happen. And, it could happen anywhere. So, it's about being altruistic, loving our staff, loving yourself. You could help that person. You could, sometimes telling them, well, when you come to my clinic, there's this gift I give all my patients. People, places, and activities that are associated with substance use should be avoided. Of course, for those that are motivated. And for those that are not motivated, I'll just tell them, well, young man, sit down and write to me all the good things about this Indian M you're using and write all the not so good things. And even things like losing trust of my wife, of my parents, would be something you hold on to and help your staff get out of the drug use. So don't see anybody as I don't see anybody as functioning addicts, which I don't like to use the word addicts. People that have people that are becoming dependent on it. But see them as a time bomb, and there may be need for you to come in at this point in time to help them out. Thank you very much.
We have a personal question here, and I'll read it the way the individual has sent it to me. It says, downsizing is imminent. I have put in the best of my working life here, but I do not know which way the pendulum will swing. Is it possible to mentally avoid high blood pressure before the D-Day, and how?
Wow.
Real
Wow.
issues.
Yeah, it is. And there's no point claiming that it's a serious issue. Someone's source of livelihood is at stake here. What is called Mr. Somebody is at stake. Being able to give the family money, dropping the resources, is what some people call Mr. So that's why they are Mr. whoever they are being called at home. So it's very, very, and the D-Day is coming. And the guy might actually be expecting it. What's our interpretation of it? The first thing I'll ask is, what's your interpretation of this? Is it the end of life? Is there no other way again in life? These are the questions I would really want you to ask. I would ask the person. It's a serious issue. When they delay, I'm a government worker. When they delay in salary, but if by 29th, you see people start asking, Alpha, what's up now? So we're missing our salary, And I'm like, God help us, government workers. But now, so I understand quite well. I can try to understand it. That's what I should say. But the question you ask, is it the end of the world? Can it ever be better than this? Can I get back? Can I ever get it? Can you ever get it right again? Yes. I'm very hard. I have to really right-size your way of life. I mean, if you were eating taking expensive things before, you have to actually readjust those things. But the point is, it's not the end of life. it can still be better than this. So it's our interpretation of it that matters. Some people might actually need to see a psychologist because of that, but it's something that's very serious, and it's something that we really have to take seriously and ask ourselves: is it the end of the world? Is it not possible to even attain a better stage in life? You know, these are basic questions that will really help us think through it and set out the next agenda of the way forward. And I think it's important to look at it analytically, objectively, and set the way forward to help us out in this type of situation. Thank you very much.
Indeed, IBP is no joke at all. This next question says, what if someone has always presented an erratic behavior? How do you know when the person slips from personality traits to mental issues?
Okay, thank you very much. There's something called personality disorder. So even that person actually have a personality disorder, and I need to see a therapist. You know, it's because people around this part of the world see psychiatrists, psychologists as, you know, as something, you know, there's so much stigma attached to my profession. But it's very important that someone that's erratic, that's behaving abnormally, he might feel it's just being erratic. It might actually be the onset of a big thing. And for me, it might even need a clinician or a psychologist, a mental health professional to try to evaluate that person. And even that personality, maybe personality disorder, that might need some form of treatment. So if you are seeing it, if you feel there's something wrong, then there might actually be something wrong, and there might be a need, you know, in a very relaxed environment for that person to actually talk to someone that would help. And if I see you as someone, as a friend that I can trust, and you tell me that, well, it might actually be hard for us in Nigeria, but sometimes it might just say that maybe you need to talk to a psychologist, a behavioral person to help you calm down. If you use the word calm down, the person might agree, and that might be the beginning of how to help such a person. So erratic behavior, some people are just hearing voices of people that others are not hearing, and they are responding to those things, and you think it's just an erratic behavior. But something bigger than that. Thank you very much.
Okay, this next question, I believe the person it sent to me privately, but let me read it out like this. How do I ensure I never get panic attacks and anxiety in the future?
Well, you might need some form of medical treatment. Medication would help, and psychological treatment help. So if you have so much panic attacks and it's crippling, it's impairing on your job, on your daily activities, you might actually need to see a mental health expert to help out. But you might just need medication to help you out. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry to I think you missed the question. The question says, and I think it's anxiety on anxiety. How do they ensure they never get panic attack? With so much news on panic attacks and anxiety, I think it's the person is worried and trying to make sure that they don't get it as well in the future. How do they, is it well-being or optimal health? How do they ensure that they don't get it in the future?
You mean prevention?
Prevention, exactly. Thank you.
Well, if it has gotten to the level of impairing on the person's functionality, you might actually need medication to treat first. That means to get to the normal, then during the psychological treatment, your outlook to life, well, there's something we call cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognition is your reasoning. It is believed that if your thinking pattern is changed, your behavior will change. So if there's this particular thing, well, if there are things that is associated with your panic attacks, in the course of your treatment, you need to have a different interpretation of that thing, which would affect the way you see it. So it's in the course of treatment, your therapy would help you to stop the attack, and which would also help prevent further attacks. But if you're having attacks now, you might need treatment. You might need food and biological treatment, medication to help you out. And don't be scared of taking medication. It's not a lifelong use of medication. It might just be for a short while and you get well. So please, you might need to seek medical help.
Thank you, Dr. Olajumoke. I'll be taking 3 more questions so we can round up. We've gone 15 minutes over an hour, so we can all get on for the weekend. This question says, and it's very affected our social, cultural relationship so much that families now feel you keeping them away from your home has more to it. How can you manage this cultural fallout without being put under psychological stress?
Sorry, I didn't get the question well.
Oh, okay. COVID-19 has unconsciously affected our social, cultural relationships so much that families now feel you keeping them away from your home has more to it. How can you manage this cultural fallout without being put under any psychological stress? I believe the person is trying to ask how, because COVID-19 has affected the way people come into your homes, especially family.
Yes,
and
yes,
don't want that psychological stress.
Yeah, thank you.
And the way families can be in Nigeria as well.
Yeah,
we're into each other's business. Yeah,
definitely.
So how can this person manage this fallout?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, because we are known worldwide for communal living. We live in communities. You would come to my house, I go to your house. We live, there's no strict, what do you call that family? There are 2 types of family. There's the short, what do you call it? Me and my family. Then these children call them family. There's this name they call
family.
What?
Is the external and
well, I'm sure you understand. Yes, the nuclear and the extended. Yes, yeah. There's no strict. Thank you for helping me. There's no strict nuclear family in Nigeria. Seriously, we all live as extended families, and now you're telling them not to come. I think, and funnily, they might believe that there's nothing like COVID. There's it's a lie, it's a scam, that type of thing that people just out there just believe. And that there's something called COVID-19. So how do you explain this to them without being under so much pressure? Maybe engaging them would actually help us and explain to look, this person somewhere, this happened to him, and letting people understand. We really have to educate people. It's not just the government, because people don't trust the Nigerian government anymore. But when we educate our family members, tell them that look, you can't. It's not even good for you to be moving around like this in public transport. It's not even good for you to be moving from one place to the other. That for this short period of time, there might be need for you to stay in where you are, so that we will reduce the spread to protect you. Not even when you let them know that it's actually to help them. It would really help them, because there's a lot of education, psycho-education, that we need to do to people around. When people listen to governors, commanders, they call it COVID commanders, we just say, I don't mind him, it's because of the money he wants to pay for. But when you are talking about it, when you tell them that, look, the Health Plus CEO said this, and she was positive, and this happened, then people begin to feel that, wow, this thing might be real. and letting them know that truly you love them, but at this point in time, you can't just afford to have crowd in your house. You know, sometimes, like I said, you have to be a bit selfish and putting your feet down. Asserting ourselves sometimes is something we need to learn. We need to just assert ourselves at this point in time. After educating them, let them know that, look, there's a problem at hand and there's need for all of us to stay wherever they are. You know, and sometimes we don't know what they want. You might just, well, this is my little bit, you can have this. But at this point in time, the government says we should stay where we are. Please stay there. Educating them and letting them know, okay, this person would really, really, really help. And it is very difficult for us because we live in extended family system in Nigeria. I've never seen a nuclear family before in Nigeria because one person or the other will always go to the other person's house. So it's really important for us to be able to assert ourselves, at the same time educate these people, and at the same time, well, you might need to spend a bit more to give them that thing that they need to the best you can handle it. That might really be, it would really be of help to us to handle it that way. But the most important thing is that social distancing, physical distancing is important at this point in time. Thank you very much.
Okay, 2 more questions. The second one is, can an organization add to my level of mental stress?
Yes, capital yes. A very big yes. When the workplace is not conducive, when you're not happy going to work, when you're always put down by people around you, when we don't care for each other in an organization, when all we're interested is all have you done the work you're supposed to do? When nobody cares about how you feel, how what happened? You don't come late normally. How come you came late today? What's the problem? You know, caring, when we don't care for ourselves. I talked about the mentally healthy workplace. There are things we really need to do. And it's not just about our boss, it's about ourselves, our colleagues, our friends, and what we do to ourselves even at the workplace. You know, so your organization, who makes up the organization? Are they not human beings? Are they the chairs that are in your office that you call the organization? The chairs don't talk to you. The chair that just there is the way you put the chair will always be. But our relationship in our office really helps us and it affects our outputs. Even when you query them with love. Let them know that because I want you to learn more, I'll give you a query. So go and write this. Let them understand the reason why you're giving that query. Let them know that, look, it's because I care for you. You didn't get across to us why this. Do you think you're not important to me? For making me go through that stress of being worried about you, you go and write this letter. We query them with love. You know, it's our organization. We spend 8 hours there, and we spend 4 hours on the road, another 8 hours sleeping. So the time we have our family is like 4 hours. So we spend more time at work more than at home. So it has to be a conducive environment for us to function and to be able to give our best and live a better life generally. Thank you very much.
Our last question for today is mental health check compulsory annually, and from what age, or does this include all ages?
Well, I'm just hearing that mental health checkup. Well, I've not seen anybody say, mental health checkup. No, not really. But if you're having any behavioral change, especially you're just sleeping, when you're just becoming irritable, there are precautionary methods, things that I've said that could really help our mental health. These are basic things, these are general things that would really help us. Because there are no blood tests to do for a mentally sick. There's no particular tests, like a blood test, things like that. But there are pencil and paper instruments that you could have to have a general well-being, a mental well-being. And it might not actually be done annually. It might be something that you do maybe once in 5 years. But more importantly, are those precautionary things that we should look out for, so that we don't break down. Like I said, nobody is immune to mental disorders. So there's nothing like we don't have it in our family, so I can't have it. That's a lie. So it's those precautionary things, those basic things, workplace, our social life, our outlook to life. If we are very intentional about that aspect of our life, and when there are changes that's not that's different, there are changes, we could just seek help and seek a psychological help on what to do and what is happening to us. That's what I would personally prescribe to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Olajumoke. And to all who shared their experiences and questions, it looks like we've covered everything. We are sorry we could not answer all the questions sent, but this will put up on Alan's social media handles. That is all the time we have for our webinar today. Please look out for snippets of today's session on Alan's website and LinkedIn pages. We'll be sharing more information on other webinars to follow. You can also join us and register to become a member of Alan. Our vision is straightforward. We are shaping a new experience on the development of continuous educational programs, research and development into the fast-changing legal services business. We have partnerships with different brands, several law firms and companies. We would like to also partner with you and have you as our member. Please visit our website, www.aala.org.ng, for more details. Without wasting any further time, I believe we can close this webinar. On behalf of Dr. Olajumoke, thank you very much for sharing with us so much information on mental health post-COVID, the new norm. And on behalf of the team at Association of Law Firm Administration of Nigeria, Alan, I thank you for joining us and taking